Welcome to my new and improved pull-up tutorial. For this tutorial you'll need a couple things. You'll need a pull-up bar, obviously. You'll need a chair or a heavy band. Even if you can do a pull-up without any assistance, I want you to try it with a little assistance so you can really focus on how you're doing it. And you'll need a stick or a broom or something solid that you can hold on to. So in order to do a pull-up, you have to hang well. And in order to hang well, you need a few things. You need good shoulder flexion. Lifting your arm up like this is flexing your shoulder. You need upward rotation of the scapula. So if your scapula are resting on your back like this, upward rotation is them lifting up and out. And downward rotation is them drawing back down into their neutral position. You need external rotation of the humerus. Here's your humerus. External rotation looks like this when your arm is out here. When it's up here, it looks like this. And you need a little thoracic extension. So thoracic extension is this. Can your upper back move a little bit and flatten out without your whole rib cage lifting? Yeah, so all these things together allow you to hang in a strong and connected place. To initiate your pull-up, if you start by pulling your shoulder blades down and together, you're pulling your shoulder blades out of upward rotation too soon. So instead, let's initiate by externally rotating the shoulder and bending the elbow, which is going to allow your shoulder blades to move in a more natural rhythm with your humerus. If you're interested in a more in-depth understanding about the anatomy of pulling and hanging and general aerial stuff, I would recommend this book, The Applied Anatomy of Aerial Arts by Emily Sherb. I will stick a link to purchase it in the description of this video. So we talked about shoulder flexion, upward rotation, external rotation, all those things. Now we're going to warm them all up and put them all together into a pull-up. So to start, we're going to come down onto our knees and we're going to warm up our shoulder blades or our scapula. So I'm going to bring my arms out into this angle kind of between straight ahead and straight out to the side. It's called scaption. I'm thinking about keeping my belly tight and my ribs connected, and I'm going to pull my shoulder blades up, back, down, forward. I'm going to smooth it out into a circle. I'm going to do one more in this direction, and then I'm going to reverse. Down, back, up, and forward. Smooth it out. And rest. We're going to do the shoulder. So one arm flips, palm up. I'm going to cross that arm over my midline, bring my arm up to my ear. As it comes up as high as I can get it, I'm going to start turning from the hand first. And I keep turning my arm up so that when it's behind me, my palm is facing the ceiling again. Hand comes to the hip and I reverse. Lifting my palm to the ceiling, unwinding the arm, and bringing it down, crossing my midline. Now notice while I do this, I'm not letting my back arch. I'm keeping my ribs in, and I'm keeping my shoulders pointing right ahead in front of me. I'm not letting myself twist to feel like I went farther. One more time on this side. And then we'll switch arms. Palm up to the ear, rotate the hand, trying to keep the hand up as high as you can while you bring it behind you. Hand comes to the hip and reverse. As I do this, I'm keeping my elbow really straight. So I'm not letting it bend as my arm comes behind me. I'm also paying attention to if there's any pinching or pain. And if there is, I'm not going to push through it. So if I start feeling pain in my shoulder right around here, then I'm just going to let my arm come this high and I'm going to take it out to make my circle instead of pushing all the way into that range that I find painful. elbows. Elbows bend in pull-ups, so they need to be warm. We're going to start with our palms forward. We're going to bend our hands up to our shoulders, elbows staying tucked in towards the waist. Flip my palms forward and press down. Palms rotate, up, palms rotate, and down. One more time like this. And then we're going to reverse. So palms stay back, hands come up, rotate, and down. Flip, up, rotate, down. Now think about if you have a bar or if you have one of those pull-up guys with the sticks that poke out, all the different hand positions you could have in a pull-up, right? Or I guess it would be a chin-up. We can have our palms this way, we can have our palms this way, we can have our hands this way. So warming up this ability to pronate and supinate, probably going to be helpful in a pull-up. And we're going to warm up our wrists. So elbows squeezed in towards the waist, palms up. And now I'm not going to allow my hand to pronate or supinate. I'm going to keep my palm up in supination. I'm going to imagine something is balancing on my forearm. So I'm not going to turn it over. I'm going to draw my pinky fingers towards each other, reach them towards the floor, thumbs out, and fingers up. And again. This one is kind of terrible when you're doing it right. Try not to let your fingers bend. Keep your hands flat the whole time, so you're only moving your wrists. And then we're going to reverse, up, out, down, and in. One more time. Ooh, I'm starting to feel it. All right, and shake it out. So our last thing to warm up right now is our thoracic spine. So I'm going to come into a kneeling position where I'm sitting on my heels, and I'm going to bring both my hands to the mat right in front of my knees. I'm thinking about rolling my shoulders down away from my ears and pushing my hands into the mat. And then I'm going to try and do like a cat-cow motion, but only with my upper back. So I'm going to start by pushing my hands into the mat like I'm trying to push them away from me, and I'm going to pull back from my solar plexus, rounding my upper back, letting my head drop at the end. And then my hands are going to pull towards my knees. I'm going to reach from my solar plexus, try to pull my chest through my arms. Shoulders are down, head comes up. I'm trying not to let my butt stick out. So I'm trying to stay a little bit tucked through my low back while I do this. Hands push forward, solar plexus draws back, and hands pull in, solar plexus reaches forward. Keeping that low back round. One more time in each direction. If this is hard, well, it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. But look for a thoracic mobility tutorial coming in the near future. All right, so we hit all those major parts. Now we're going to do a couple more really specific things to warm them up in a more combined way. So we did them all individually. Now we want to warm them up together. So we're going to come to the wall. And we're going to start with doing Serratus wall slides. So you might have been given these to do by a physical therapist if you've been in physical therapy before. If you have a band and you've done them that way, go for it. We're going to do them with our hands shoulder distance apart, no band, and the edges of your hands are on the wall. My elbows are also shoulder distance apart, so I have a frame here. Everything is in the same line. I'm thinking about my ribs staying in. I'm gently pressing the edges of my hands into the wall. And I'm going to start sliding them up. As I slide them up, I'm thinking about reaching my elbows forward, like my elbows are trying to touch the wall. They can come all the way to the wall. And as they keep going up, they'll come away from the wall. Now as I do this, I'm trying to avoid my shoulders creeping up by my ears. I'm trying to avoid a feeling of tension in my neck or upper traps. And once I get up as high as I can go, I'm going to reach my elbows towards the wall to pull my arms back down. We're going to do that a couple more times. sliding up, gentle pressure. I'm keeping my ribs in. Now, if you start feeling tension in your neck, you can try a few things. You can try letting your arms widen into a little bit more of a V. You can try reaching your elbows forward more, or you can just stop when you can't fix it. Maybe you don't get all the way to straight, and that's okay. When we're coming down, no matter what you did, you're thinking about your elbows reaching forward to start pulling your arms back down. So what we should be feeling when we do this exercise is movement of our shoulder blades on our back. So we should feel them going up into upward rotation when our arms are all the way here. And as we reach our elbows forward and slide our arms back down, they go back down into their neutral position. Let's do one more. So there's some upward rotation and warming up shoulder flexion, getting our arm up overhead. Now we're going to warm up some external rotation of the shoulder. You're going to put your elbows on the wall at shoulder height. You're going to bring your hands together. And then keeping your elbows right in front of your shoulders, you're going to pull your hands apart as wide as you can go. Don't let your back arch. Keep your ribs in. So here you go. Here's some external rotation. We're going to take the elbows up a little higher and do it again. Keeping the ribs in. Notice that it gets harder the higher up your arms go. We're going to go one more time. Make sure your elbows are staying shoulder distance apart. My elbows are at about my eye height. And again, rotating out. Keep those ribs pulling in. And come all the way out. So notice that the higher up your arms go, the harder it is to externally rotate. And that's for a lot of reasons, most of which is that in general we don't spend a lot of time in our lives with our arms up here, so we tend to not have a lot of mobility or strength when they're already up there. All right, so last thing that we're going to do before we do our pull-ups, we're going to grab the bar or the stick, whatever it is that you have, and we're going to stand up against the wall again, this time with our back to the wall. You're thinking about pressing your rib cage back. You don't need to necessarily have your whole back pressed into the wall, but you're trying to find contact at the base of your ribs. My head is against the wall. My feet are a little bit in front of the wall, so I'm leaning back ever so slightly. And I'm going to hold the bar at about shoulder height, and I'm going to try to break it in half. So when I do that, notice that I'm going into external rotation. The tips of my elbows are pointing down, and I'm rotating through my upper arm. Now, if your elbows hyperextend, then you're going to think about rotating your upper arm, like you're trying to bring your armpits closer together rather than trying to break the bar with your hands. And once you've found that position, you're going to take a deep breath. As you exhale, you're going to pull your ribs down and lift the bar up. And see how high you can go, keeping all those things. And then let it come down again. We're going to do that one more time. Ribs in, rotating through the shoulder, and down. So now we're going to lift the bar up and we're going to practice our pull-up pathway. So we're going to do a pull-up standing up. So I bring the bar all the way up, my ribs are in. Then I'm reaching my elbows forward, just like when we were sliding up and down the wall, to pull the bar to my chest. So when I'm all the way here, this is what the top of my pull-up should look like. My shoulders are down. My elbows are tucked in towards my waist. My ribs are in. If you're an aerialist, this should look a lot like your lock-off or your bent arm hang. Elbows all the way to the sides. And then we go back up, elbows reaching forward, ribs drawing down as the bar comes up. Let's try that one more time. So you should also pay attention to your shoulder blades, feeling how they stay pretty broad on your back. I'm reaching my elbows forward like I'm trying to touch something, and feeling my lats work to pull my elbows towards my waist. Shoulders are down, elbows are squeezing in, and then my elbows reach forward, ribs are drawing down as I come all the way back. All right, now we're ready to do a pull-up. So I have my pull-up bar set up quite low, so I can have my feet here, and I'm gonna open my door. Maybe you'll see one of my cats. All right, so to start our pull-up, we're gonna think about that hanging and external rotation. So I have my feet just comfortably on the ground. I'm letting myself be kind of relaxed here. I'm thinking about my ribs. And then I'm gonna rotate like I'm trying to pull my elbows towards each other or pull my armpits towards each other and relax back down. So you should notice when you do that, it feels like your shoulder is getting tighter in the socket, but you're not feeling a lot of movement through your shoulder blade. So that's the very first movement of our pull-up. We rotate. Now we're going to reach the elbows forward, keep pulling the ribs in, and see if we can get all the way up to the top, finding that perfect bent arm hang position. Belly tight, elbows tucked in, shoulders down, neck relaxed. Reach the elbows forward, ribs stay in to come back down. Let's do one more together. Deep breath. And exhale, rotate, reach elbows forward. Think about pulling the bar to you, not you to the bar. And then nice and slow, all the way back down. All right, there's your pull-up. Hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.